Hey cuties, this video needs a hero. In March of 2025, DC Comics, yes, those DC Comics, released a Harley Quinn scratch and sniff comic. Some of the smells included pizza, beavers, and Harley Quinn's rancid, pungent, delicious snow bunny farts. So naturally, I had to check this out. Harley Quinn is DC's most marketable girl boss clown, the originator of snow bunny mind control, and patron saint of white girls everywhere who collect red flags like gym badges. And I love them for it. DC has never been afraid to do questionable things with their characters just to sell a few issues. So the higher-ups at DC figured who better to appeal to this time than the unwashed, terminally online wretches on the internet like me and you. So DC had the bright idea to have Harley Quinn star in what might be the grossest comic DC has ever published. Harley Quinn Fartacular, Jesus Christ. Fartacular, silent but deadly. But this comic is not just nasty, it's weirdly historic. Because it's not the first time comics have pulled some bizarre gimmick to sell an issue. And sometimes that means letting someone's deeply repressed fart fetish get published by $1 million company. So today we're cracking open the comic book industry's weirdest, smelliest, and most unhinged moments. And maybe learn something new about ourselves by watching a clown girl fart. I know I will. So now's a good time to ask ourselves, what the f? Because this isn't some random dojin or DeviantArt post that breached containment. This is Harley Quinn Annual #1. This is what DC is saying Harley Quinn is now. A clussy queef goddess. So right now you might be wondering, Kenshi, I don't give a fuck about this nerd. Just tell me how I can get this sweet clussy gas in my nose holes. Well, you little gooner, I'm so glad you asked. So to make this comic special, DC rolled out what they called rub and smell technology, which is a phrase that will definitely get me put on a watch list. It's designed to immerse yourself in the world of Harley Quinn's yummy farts. But beyond the smells, the plot itself is where things get really amazing. So Harley gets invited to the Art of the Fart exhibit, which is a freaky ass Gotham art show that features historical artworks themed entirely around flatulence. And I guess Gotham is full of insane freaks because look at this crowd, bro. Look at all these fucking perverts. So among all the doo-doo gems on display, she finds letters written by James Joyce to his wife about how much farts absolutely turn him on. Harley reads them, gets disturbingly into them, and even remarks on the amount of passion James put in these letters by remarking about how sticky they are. Jesus Christ. You see, James Joyce was an Irish author, playwright, and notorious big wife guy. Joyce was obsessed with his wife's farts. So Joyce wrote many letters to his dear wife Nora, where he made these grand romantic declarations of love in ways only a true Irishman could express. Some of these letters had romantic titles such as A Whorish Movement of Your Mouth, Like a Hog Riding a Sow, and of course, My Naughty Wriggling Little Frigger, My Sweet Dirty Little Farter. Beautiful. Anyways, so somewhere along the way, she gets cursed by a fart-themed villain named Dutch Oven, whose entire gimmick is that she has unstoppable gas. Wow. Here she is using her farts to literally rocket boost herself into punching Harley Quinn. Yeah, whoever drew this is going to hell. Dutch Oven curses Harley by making her rip ass with the power of 1,000 suns. Yeah, that'll show her. So Harley loves it at first because she's a disgusting fart pervert, and even manages to use her powers to beat Batman. Harley literally beats the patriarchy with farts. You go, pussy queen wop goddess. But eventually, Harley soon comes to learn that she can't really do crime while blasting out her ass all day, and soon tries to break the curse. She tries and fails to get Dutch Oven to break the curse, and at some point, eats fondue that Dutch Oven literally shits in. It's totally not a fetish, by the way. She even confronts James Joyce himself as a fart ghost for some reason, and things get a little freaky and oddly political. My favorite type of freaky. And at one point, she basically argues for feminist fart liberation. And Joyce's ghost literally says it's okay for him to be a freakzilla because he's a white man.
A straight white man.
Jesus Christ, I cannot wait to talk about this author, bro. Anyways, Harley eventually tries to trap her farts by wearing Plastic Man as a full-body gas suit. Okay. And then Plastic Man falls in love with her farts, because of course he does. God, I wish that was me. Hilarity ensues as they try to get Dutch Oven to break the curse. There's a lot of content for the fart fetish folder, and Harley Quinn manages to get Dutch Oven to break the curse by giving her a heartfelt speech about fart acceptance and how she can still find a man because fart fetishes exist. Go off, I guess, girl boss queef queen. And that was the comic. I gotta say, the art does nothing to help this thing beat the kink allegations. There are literally pages where gas clouds are lovingly drawn and viscerally rendered and going directly into characters' noses, and it absolutely turns them on. Honestly, if you took the dialogue out and just showed someone the raw panels, they'd probably assume this was from DeviantArt or something. Oh yeah, and the comic ends with Harley Quinn realizing she was never cursed and she was just lactose intolerant. She just had the power of wicked farts inside of her all along and just needed to believe. Beautiful. Beautiful book. I'm so glad I read this. But you know what's even crazier than all of this? This isn't even the weirdest thing that's ever happened in comics before. Like, did you know that Supergirl once canonically fucked a horse? So before Harley Quinn was the queen of queefs, DC had another girl boss romance that would have had a home on that side of Pixiv or buried with my other forbidden bookmarks. So back in the Silver Age of comics, back when comics writers and myself had oddly similar writing routines, Supergirl had a pet horse named Comet. She was a fairy, she was a horse girl. So this all sounds pretty wholesome and sweet so far, right? Well, it turns out Comet wasn't just a horse. He was a cursed centaur named Byron. You see, he helped a witch save her well or something, and then she gave him a potion that he failed to microdose on, and he turned into a full horse instead. So as a consolation, the witch gave him superpowers for some reason and left to fight Wonder Woman. It was a whole thing. Magic Kenshi writing dust. So now, whenever the stars align, he turns to this hot cowboy named Bronco Bill Star. Bro, think on Magic Mike or something. So when he's in human form, he gives Supergirl the gold chip backshots. Mind you, Supergirl was very much a minor at the time as well. And DC had this really weird thing about teenage girls during the Silver Age. And that's not even the last of Comet's Huz ventures. Bro literally pulls. So in another comic, Lois Lane gets magically turned to a horse. That was close. I almost went a whole video without talking about furry TF. In her horse form, she runs into Comet. And I don't know how to put this lightly, but she goes into heat, one thing leads to another, and she transforms back to a human with no memory of the barnyard freak-off she just went through. So modern readers look back on this and pointed out the laundry list of AO3 tags on display in these stories, so DC did what any responsible publisher would do. They quietly erased him from canon and hoped we'd never bring him up again. Probably because he was too OP and was building his own reverse animal girl harem right before our very eyes. But I'll never forget Comet. He really taught us that country girls really can make do. Next on our list of deranged cape slop, we have the official Kiss comic book from 1977 by our good friends at Marvel. Or Wokeful. Am I right, guys? Anyway, Kiss was this band from the 70s that your grandpa likes. Or hates. It really depends where you fell on the Led Zeppelin to Kenny Loggins spectrum. So you know how most bands release merch, maybe a Funko Pop, or if they're really bold, they just hop in your DMs directly? Well, Kiss saw all that and went, no, let's just drain our veins and print a comic book with our actual blood. Seriously. In 1977, Marvel released a Marvel Comics Super Special. Kiss! Very, very creative name. A full-color, officially licensed comic book where the band members played superhero versions of themselves. And to prove just how hardcore they were, Kiss literally mixed a vial of their own blood into the ink and used it to print the thing. Hey kids, hope you like Gene Simmons' hepatitis. It was, of course, a publicity stunt. They hired registered nurses, had blood drawn at a public event, and then all the members of Kiss dumped their samples into a vat of red ink at the printing press in upstate New York. And then they printed thousands of copies. Thousands of copies filled to the brim with whatever's floating in this guy's bloodstream. Was there a logical reason to do this? No. Was it safe? Hell no. It was the 70s, bro. People ate asbestos for breakfast, but still thought TV ate your soul. But was it awesome? Absolutely. The comic was a massive success. Or, well, as successful as you would expect from a Kiss comic. It wasn't good or anything, but if your only other option at the time is an arc where Superman doesn't want a black girlfriend, you're probably picking this up instead. But the book was so infamously gross that it became an instant collector's item. Since then, other bands have tried similar stuff, but no one's ever been able to beat Kiss when it comes to mixing stunt marketing with actual bodily fluids. Well, almost. So in the early 2000s, Marvel rebooted the entire universe to make it dark and twisted, and now they kill people and have sex! Speaking of sex, enter Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch. They're a sibling duo who come from the small Eastern European nation of Alabama. So Marvel figured what would be more twisted than turning them into a romantic couple. And it's not even implied twincest either. This is full-on forbidden burning love type shit. They bang on multiple occasions, sometimes with Wolverine watching from his cuck bush. Whole new universe and Wolverine is still relegated to cuck duty. It's so over for claw cells. And what's also super weird is that it isn't even treated as some sick or taboo thing either. The Avengers are actually super into how pure their love is. Naturally, Captain America objects, but he gets shut down with facts and logic because he's an old man who doesn't fucking get it. But then Scarlet Witch gets killed by a robot, and that made Quicksilver freak out because somebody touched his kitten, and that helped trigger Ultimatum. I gotta say it like that. One of the most infamous Marvel events ever. It was basically a way for Marvel to literally just end this universe and wash their hands of it completely. So basically, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were in love, Wolverine watched, and then the universe exploded. So I think the moral of the story is that even if your sister is a witchy goth girl, don't have sex with her, or else the universe will explode. So now that you've experienced peak fiction, let's all take a look at the absolute gooner MVP who made this all happen. Joanne Sterer. An indie writer with a sweet chinlock, dude. Fuck yes! According to her official bio on her website, yeah, she has a website for some reason, she describes herself as witty, hilarious, thoughtful, and gassy. Totally not a fetish or anything, by the way. She's written about everything from the Holocaust to abortion to this. Say what you will, but technically she did accomplish more for the world than I ever did. So a lot of readers understandably thought that the comic leaned a bit into fart fetish territory, and by a bit, I mean blatantly and uncomfortably, and I think it developed a couple new fetishes. It also doesn't help that a lot of the comic's defenders just so happened to have crippling fart fetishes. She fired back saying it was about Harley's emotional core, and that the backlash wouldn't happen if Harley was a man. Which is a take. So what I think she's saying is that when a guy farts, it's edgy and artistic, but when a woman does it, it's body shaming. So basically, this comic is also a humiliation king thing as well. Well, cuties, what have you learned today? Comics are weird, but the people who write them are weirder. From horse fuckers to blood comics to literal fart smut, sometimes you just gotta sit back and remember that at the end of the day, someone got paid to make all these. And hey, if the video does well, I'll subject myself to even greater horrors. Like this webcomic I found where furries are considered an ethnic minority and get beat up by fascists. Very subtle, very chill. So if you want to see that, like, comment, subscribe, so my wife's boyfriend can let me stay up later on the weekends. And you know what? In Joanne's defense, this clown smut raised some actually interesting questions. Like about how gender shapes the way we perceive violent or sexual content. Super brain dead take here, but Kratos can go on a murder fuck rampage, and that's cool. But Abby can literally beat a dude to death with her thick, glistening, juicy arms. And suddenly, it's some weird femdom muscle girl thing. Which, I mean, it kinda was, but many such cases. But Joanne's comic, it isn't really about body shaming. She literally eats shit fondue. I've seen it. This is targeted marketing to a very specific demographic. But the wildest part about all of this, it worked. The comic went viral, and it nailed the perfect storm of fetish and shock humor and a marketing stunt to land itself into this very specific corner of internet hell. I could have been talking about the Corey Kenshin situation, or doing deep dives on 4chan psyops. But instead, we're here, talking about Harley Quinn eating shit. And now I'm just left with one question. Why the fuck wasn't Poison Ivy green?